Well, I'm here with Pastor Matt Greeno. Thank you so much for...
What's up, guys?
Yeah, thanks for coming today. I appreciate you carving some time out of your schedule to just share about what's coming up in the fall. And so, I know you're looking for something new this fall. You're going to be doing a little bit of like a video podcast thing.
Yep.
And so, what's the goal of that? Can you share a little bit what we can expect from that?
Sure. So basically this fall for our study, we're going through the parables of Jesus. And I decided that I wanted to put it in podcast format because if you're anything like me, you've learned a lot in life just by listening to other people's discussions about a topic. And so I think that the parables are some of the most memorable scriptures in all of the Bible. You guys are probably familiar with the prodigal son, the good Samaritan, the persistent widow. So with this podcast format, I'll have Scott on, I'll have Ricky on, I'll have Pastor Matt on. Scotty's excited. But I'm going to have the guys on, and so you'll get the chance to actually hear us discuss it and learn why it's memorable to the pastors and how it should be memorable to you in your own life. And then the second part of listening to a discussion is discussions tend to create curiosity. They tend to build up interest. So if you're following along with this study, you get to listen to us argue about a passage or just share our hearts about it. And then hopefully that will pique your interest and you can continue to follow along with the study that we're posting on Wednesday night. So that's kind of the idea behind it, is instead of just talking to the camera, I'd like to have a discussion with you guys that would pique their interest to follow along with the series.
Okay.
So that's kind of the idea.
Oh, that sounds cool. So ours is going to be the best, but it'll still be cool. It'll be cool anyone else who does it.
We'll see what Ricky says.
There we go.
We'll see what Rick says.
That's right. So, you've got that going on. And I know you also kind of have like some outdoor things in backyards that you've been doing.
Yeah.
Can you just kind of share a little bit, just kind of from your heart, why you think it's so important for the students to be connecting like with this podcast, with the Central Youth as they're kind of doing some stuff outdoors and different things like that?
Mm-hmm. So we know that it's important to gather with God's people. We believe that that's important. There's only so much gaming that kids can do. There's only so much Netflixing that kids can do. I'm at the end of my streaming. I don't play video games. I tried to get my wife to buy me an Xbox and to call it ministry. She did not agree with that. So I tried to get Lane and Luke and everybody to convince her. It didn't happen. But all that to say, the time that you spend with other believers isn't like the time that you spend at home just watching TV or playing a game. So if you come to one of our physical gatherings or you're following along with the podcast on Wednesday nights, it's going to go up at 6 o'clock. We good with that?
Yeah.
It's going to go up at 6 o'clock. And one of the things that's cool is it's going to give people an opportunity to actually, when they see another youth group student, to be able to have a discussion about the scriptures instead of just the latest thing that they've been streaming or the latest game that they've been playing. So it's super important. So.
Okay. That sounds very important. And it helps, kind of you can do the same thing but in different places. So I love that. Yeah. Then when they can actually be together, they have the same thing to talk about.
Exactly.
And just kind of one more question I've got for you. Can you just share some words of encouragement for some families? I know it's been rough for a lot of students, a lot of kids, a lot of families, but just anything you can share to encourage families right now.
I mean, to me, it seems like everything has sort of stalled. And I think our senior pastor, Matt Dumas, has done a great job of starting this series unstuck and encouraging people to stay faithful. But when I talk to families or when I talk to students, I guess if there was sort of one thing I would boil it down to would be sometimes we feel like we should be further along than we are currently feeling in our relationship with God. And I guess I would just encourage people to be gracious with yourselves, keep pursuing Christ. As Pastor Matt says, you can do this, you can spend time in the Word, you can pray, but there's setbacks. And so, we think sometimes we're further along than we are, and we need to be gracious with ourselves. I always think there's a story in Matthew chapter 11 about John the Baptist sending his disciples to Jesus so that he could give him assurance that he is, in fact, the one that they should look to instead of hoping for another who could potentially come. And Jesus sends word back and he says, go back, tell John, I'm the real deal. I'm the one that you've been waiting for. And John had been following and proclaiming Jesus since birth. And here he is at the end of his life. And he could have felt like he should have been further along, but Jesus is patient with him. He actually pays a tribute to him. And he says that there's none greater that's been born of woman than John the Baptist. And so sometimes we think it's just like always, like we're always on this like positive uphill trajectory. And we just need to realize that even people that have been following Jesus since the very beginning of their life, even at a young age, like you guys that are in junior high or high school, or you guys that have families, just be gracious with yourselves. God has you where he has you. And so don't condemn you where Christ has not condemned you. Okay, so I would just encourage people to be patient and be flexible right now.
Okay, so those are good words. Those are encouraging even for me in this time. You know, you always think you want to be moving forward, but you know, the path toward Jesus is filled with ups and downs.
Right.
So I think those are really good words.
Exactly.
One more thing for you, something a little bit fun. I was curious how you are at some tongue twisters.
Tongue twisters.
So this is kind of one of the classic ones, but I just want to have you take a stab at it. Is just the Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers.
Okay, what? Say that one more time.
One more time. Peter Piper
Okay.
picked a peck
Okay.
of pickled peppers.
Yeah, I got it. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. Wait, say it one more time. I'll try one more time.
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers.
Okay, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers.
Done. Yes.
Got it.
Got it.
I won that, guys. Did you see that?
That was great.
I'll bring one for him next time.
Thanks for coming in. I appreciate
sure.
your heart for ministry, your heart for the students, and look forward to some great things coming this fall.
For sure.